The publication of Malleus Maleficarum, usually translated as The Hammer of Witches, was essentially a guide on how to identify, hunt and interrogate witches. It is also known as the Witch Hunter's Bible. Published on 1487, Malleus Maleficarum labeled witchcraft as heresy and divergence, and quickly became the authority of Protestants and Catholics trying to flush out witches living among them. To know why they hunted witches, we need to dive through the origin of witches. Witches were perceived as evil beings by early Christians in Europe. Images of witches have appeared in various forms throughout history, from evil, watch-nosed women huddling over a cauldron of boiling liquid, to hag-faced, cackling beings riding through the sky on brooms wearing pointy hats. But the real history of witches, however, is dark and often for the witches deadly. Early witches were people who practiced witchcraft, using magical spells and calling upon spirits for help to bring about change. Most witches were thought to be pagans doing the devil's work. Many, however, were simply natural healers or so-called wise women, whose choice of profession was misunderstood. Well, it's unclear exactly when witches came on the historical scene. Witch hysteria really took hold in Europe during the mid-1400s, when many accused witches confessed, often under tortures, to a variety of wicked behaviors. Within a century, witch hunts were common, and most of the accused were executed by burning at the stake or hanging. Single women, widows and other women on the margin of society were especially targeted. Between the years 1500 and 1660, up to 80,000 suspected witches were put to death in Europe. Around 80% of them were women thought to be in cahoots with the devils and filled with lust. Germany had the highest witchcraft execution rate, while Ireland had the lowest. One of the most famous witches in Virginia's history is Grace Sherwood, whose neighbors stated that she killed their pigs and cursed their cotton. Other occasions followed, and Sherwood was brought to trial in 1706. The court decided to use controversial water tests to determine her guilt or innocence. Sherwood's arms and legs were bound and she was thrown into the body of water. It was thought if she sank, she was innocent, and if she floated, she was guilty. Sherwood didn't sink and was convicted for being a witch. She wasn't killed but put in the prison for 8 years. Modern-day witches of the Western world still struggle to shake their historical stereotype. Most practice Wicca, an official religion in the United States and Canada. Their spells and incantations are often derived from their Book of Shadows, a 20th century collection of wisdom and witchcraft, and can be compared to the act of prayer in others' religion. A modern-day witchcraft potion is more likely to be a herbal remedy for the flu instead of a spell to harm someone. Well, it's probable some historical witches used witchcraft for evil purposes. Many may have embraced it for healing or protection against immorality they were accused of. But witches, whether actual or accused, still face persecution and death. Several men and women suspected of using witchcraft have been beaten and killed in Papua New Guinea since 2010, including a young mother who was buried alive. Similar episodes of violence against people accused of being witches have occurred in many different countries. Hey, do you believe in ghosts? Don't forget to watch some other interesting stories offline.